is an emergency lockdown.
Our school went into lockdown in the 6th grade, and nothing about it makes any sense. This story is nearly 15 years old, and to this day I still don't know what to make of it. Those of us who were there rarely talk about it, and I still get nightmares from time to time. I was in 6th grade at the time, in a small Midwestern town. My school was tiny, only about 200 kids total. One autumn day, during lunch, my friends and I went out to play our usual game, a chaotic version of football we called Smear the Deer. It was loud, messy, and exactly what you would expect from a bunch of middle schoolers. At one point, a kid named Kyle punted the ball so far it landed in the woods beside the school. He jogged into the trees to retrieve it, but then he just froze. He just stood there frozen, before eventually turning back to us, pale and wide-eyed. Then he muttered, "Nah, F that," and walked away. Just like that. No explanation at all. Kyle was easily the toughest of all of us. He was never rattled by anything, but that day, he looked terrified. My friend, Scotty, and I went to check it out. I grabbed the ball, and the moment I touched it, my ears popped like a plane had depressurized. Then I felt something hot and wet breathing down my neck. I spun around. Nothing was there, just Scotty looking confused. Just then, the bell rang, lunch was over, and we headed back inside. Back in class, I tried to forget about it. About 20 minutes into math, I asked to use the bathroom. When I stepped into the hallway, everything had gone strangely dark, like a storm had rolled in, even though it was sunny minutes before. As I came out of the bathroom, I saw the principal running down the hall towards the front doors. When he got there, he was locking them frantically. He looked scared. When he saw me, he said, "Get back to class and tell your teacher code silver." I ran back and did exactly that. The color drained from my teacher's face. She locked the door and pushed everyone to the back of the classroom. In America, a code silver means an active shooter lockdown. We'd practiced this, but nothing about it felt normal. The lights went out, the windows turned pitch black, and then the school went completely silent. Eventually, a strange reddish glow appeared from the hallway, along with the sound of wet, squishy footsteps. Something thudded against our door. The handle jiggled. No one moved or spoke. Then, as quickly as it came, the light faded and the footsteps retreated. A few minutes later, we heard a scream from down the hall. It ended abruptly. Then, just more silence. We stayed hidden in the classroom for hours. By the time the police arrived and evacuated us, it looked like a bomb had gone off. Melted lockers, shattered glass, twisted metal, but there was no fire and no explanation. Kyle, the kid who kicked the ball, was just gone, and so was the principal and one of the janitors. They were never found. No bodies, no arrests, just missing. Later that night when I got home, I got violently sick. I didn't think anything of it until others started getting sick too. A hazmat team showed up at my house. I was tested and quarantined. Turns out, everyone had been exposed to radiation. No one knew how or why. The school closed for weeks. When we finally returned, no one said a word about what happened. No news coverage, no reports. It's like it was all just erased. They told our parents a dangerous fugitive had entered the school that day, but a fugitive can't melt steel lockers or cause an eclipse. Whatever was in those woods that day, it wasn't human, and we still don't know what it was. As a kid, life goes on and you just forget. But as an adult, you end up ruminating on it over and over until coming to a worrying realization. We as humans, we set up these systems, ways of life, and comfort zones, but there are things out there that can and sometimes will bypass all of them. Things that are far beyond our understanding, that we have little power against, and sometimes we get shown firsthand just what those things are truly capable of. I was a school teacher. For obvious reasons, I won't specify where, but I taught grade 7 history, and my classroom was the first one you'd see when entering the school lobby. It was right next to the bathrooms. It was a regular Tuesday morning, around 10 a.m. I'm in the middle of teaching when the lockdown alarm sounded. Now, this wasn't the alarm for a practice lockdown, no. This was the alarm for a very real lockdown. I immediately locked the classroom door, and as quickly and quietly as possible, I built a barricade of desks in front of it. and I told all of my students to stay silent and hidden out of sight, away from the door and any windows. Some ran to the back of the classroom and hid in the corners, but most forced themselves underneath of their desks, grasping onto their backpacks, while others frantically started texting their parents. I was 31 when this took place, and I had only been teaching for 3 years. I never expected to take part in a lockdown in my life. I did my best to keep the students calm as I grabbed the phone and dialed the office. Now, the office was pretty far away. It rang for maybe 20 to 30 seconds, and there was no answer. Assuming that the other teachers had the same idea to call the office, I just hung up. I had a bad sinking feeling in my gut, but I couldn't allow that to show. No matter how I felt on the inside, I had to stay calm, cool, and collected on the outside for my students. A few minutes of silence pass, then a silent knock on the classroom door. At first, I missed it, but then the knock got louder. As I heard it and looked over to one of my students, her eyes were wide and she was just shaking her head no. Doing my best to keep quiet, I signaled to everyone that we were okay. The knocking came again, and this time a frantic voice with it, whispering from the other side of the door. "Please let me in. I'm in danger out here in the open." I had instant goosebumps, and the hair on both of my arms stood up. I took a deep breath and tiptoed over to the door, and I put my hand on one of the desks I used to block the door. The knocking grew louder, more panicked. The voice yelled again, "Please, let me in." "Who are you?" I asked. Then the voice from the other side seemed to calm down, and they whispered, "It's Miles. I was going to the bathroom when the alarm sounded. Please let me in." I felt sick, and if I hadn't been holding onto the desk, I would have dropped to the floor. The man had a deep voice, and there was absolutely no way that this was a child. I looked at the students. They were all terrified. I didn't say another word. I just slowly backed away from the door. The person knocked again. "Are you still there?" Followed by, "Please." I didn't answer. I couldn't find any words. Then a haunting, almost sinister laughter came from that door. After what felt like hours of this man knocking on the door, the laughter started to get softer, more distant. Then the sounds of the footsteps going away from the door. A collective sigh of relief came from every person in that classroom. A little while after that, the principal got on the loudspeaker and announced that the lockdown was being lifted and classes would be ending for the day. Once all of the children had been picked up, the principal instructed all of the teachers to meet in the teacher's lounge for a debriefing. Turns out the man, who was wearing a clown mask, had entered the school through the cafeteria with a Nerf pistol, but obviously, at the time, nobody had any way of knowing that it wasn't a real pistol. The police had quickly deployed the SWAT team, and the man was found a few hallways down, wandering from door to door, just knocking on them. When I finally got home later that night, I flicked on the news just in time to see a haunting image of a clown in handcuffs being escorted out of the front doors of the school. Things quickly went back to normal, but I could never shake that fear. About a week later, I gave up my position. I know that I should never have said anything to the man. If whoever was behind that door had been more forceful or had a real weapon, who knows what would have happened. I was 17 years old in my junior year when this happened. It was a regular and peaceful day at school. Nothing weird at all was going on. I was walking to third period with one of my best friends. We made it to the class and our teacher, Mrs. Garcia, looked very uneasy, almost like something bad was about to happen. She was usually always happy, but today it was different. Not long after class started, a voice on the AP intercom emerged. It was the secretary at the front desk. Level 3 lockdown. I repeat, Level 3 lockdown. Everyone in my class knew what a Level 3 lockdown was at our school. There were 3 levels of lockdown. Level 1, medical emergency. Level 2, a threat or danger outside of the school. Level 3, life-threatening danger inside of the school. Mrs. Garcia locked the doors and dimmed the lights all the way down. She gestured all of us to the back of the classroom with a shooing motion. 30 minutes have passed since we've been in lockdown. Students started muttering, telling each other about rumors that were circulating. Everyone stopped talking when they heard banging on the doors of the classroom near us. My friend swore he'd heard someone say something. He was right. The person was screaming someone's name. It wasn't until they came closer when everyone heard the man again. Kyle, where are you? I won't give up until I find you. Everyone looked at me. I pulled out my phone and started texting my mom with tears faintly visible. I texted her asking her if she was at work right now. She quickly replied, "No, sweetie, what's up?" It was clear from her response she had no idea that the school was in lockdown. I typed as fast as I could. "There's a lockdown at school and there's a man screaming my name. I am terrified and on the verge of tears." Within 5 seconds of sending that message, I get a response in all caps. "What are you talking about?" "Some strange man is screaming my name, Mom." She replies, "That's not true. Come on, Kyle, stop playing with me." So I sent her an audio recording of the man screaming my name. In sheer panic, she replies, "Sweetie, that's your dad." My heart was racing and my mind was spinning. She had told me that my dad died when I was a baby. Turns out that wasn't entirely true. He wasn't dead. He was in jail. The texts from my mom kept pouring in. "He was in jail for violating his restraining order. He tried to hurt you when you were a baby, so I divorced him and filed a restraining order. He broke it more than once, so he went to jail." About an hour later, we're still in lockdown, and all of the students in the class have kind of separated themselves from me and just kept staring and whispering. My friend asked if I had any info about the man. I told him that it was my father, and he was in jail. Was being the key word there. I don't know how he got out, but he did. Upon revealing this information to my friend, everyone was staring at me with pure shock. They all kind of started feeling bad for me. A voice over the AP intercom emerged again, and everyone was free to go. I ran out just in time to see the father of the year being put into the back of a police car. We locked eyes. I flipped him off, then the police officer pushed him into the backseat of the car. Don't get me wrong, I have severe PTSD from this incident, but I'm happy. I'm happy that I got it over with and that it didn't end worse for anyone. No one should have to experience this kind of stuff, and I sincerely hope that no one else does.